Morning, Wild Friends. We are here at the New Mexico State Legislature, also known as the Roundhouse. I'm Sue George. I'm the director of the Wild Friends program, and with me here today.
Hi, I'm Sarah Van Noot, and I'm an educator with Wild Friends.
And I'm Barbara Garrity, and I'm also an educator with Wild Friends.
So today we wanted to show you around the Roundhouse and tell you a little bit about what happens here during legislative session. And you're going to meet some of our legislators that support Wild Friends and find out about what's going on this year.
And we'll see you inside.
Representative Jane Padrell Colbert, and I represent District 44, Sandoval County, which is Rio Rancho, Corrales, and the town of Burndale.
Well, first of all, we'd like to thank you for speaking with us today. So this video will be for the Wild Friends students who weren't able to come to the legislature this year, so they'll be watching it and learning more about what goes on in the legislature and meeting you this way. Okay. So our first question is, how did you decide to become a legislator?
It was totally an accident. I mean, I hadn't planned on it. I've always been involved in politics, gosh, since I was a kid. My mom was involved as a community activist and making things happen. You know, in our community, we didn't have infrastructure, period. You know, we had outhouses and we had dirt roads. And her and a bunch of the ladies decided they were going to get signatures. And it gave me and a bunch of little kids the opportunity to roam the community from Central all the way to Gibson to get signatures. And I learned as an adult, I've been involved in politics all along, but I didn't know that that's what they were calling it.
Hi, and thank you for this opportunity. I represent Senate District 11, and that is in the southwest quadrant of Bernalillo County, there in Albuquerque.
Why did you decide to become a legislator?
I decided to become a legislator back in 1995 when I decided to run for the New Mexico State Senate, primarily because I didn't see anyone who looked like me in the New Mexico State Senate. I didn't see very many women, much less even any Hispanic women. There were a few, but nobody else that looked like me, and I thought, why not? Let's challenge the gentleman who was representing us at the time.
I'm from District 4, which is the northwest corner of the state, and borders Arizona, Utah, and Colorado. I'm right there in the corner. So that's District 4, and that's a district I represent. I've wanted to be a legislator, I guess you could say, all my life. And my family, I come from a political family. So a lot of the influence on me to go into politics is due to my background. I went into it because I have a district there are so many needs in District 4, basic needs like infrastructure. That is something I want to get there. You know, water, electricity, sewer, broadband, so that we're up to the times with, you know, what's going on outside of my district.
I'm Barbara with Wild Friends, and I want to show you that this is where the Speaker of the House sits. And there's the beautiful crest of the state of New Mexico, and the important dignitaries sit up here in the front. And this whole room, the House chamber floor, is where all the decision makers, the legislators, representatives sit, they discuss, they debate, and they vote on the bills. Some of them are here chatting in the off time.
Great things when Wild Friends always comes up here is you start to learn that you really have a powerful voice in the legislature. Lawmakers pay attention, they listen, and most times the bills get passed. A couple of years ago there was some controversy with the bee bill as far as what was causing it, and some of the farmers and ranchers didn't like that you guys were pointing out very correctly, I think, the nicotinoids that were responsible for it. But in general, you have a very powerful voice, and students in general have a powerful voice, more so than you know. Stay involved, because the future of New Mexico really belongs to you, and we're just up here trying to set a good course for your future.
Be knowledgeable. You know, whether you decide to be a D or an R, be knowledgeable, you know, about what's going on in your environment. Because I think that's a big issue in our country right now, is it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. It's really having some insight to what's going on and how it affects you personally, how it affects your family life, how it affects your community life.
Everybody brings something to this. I mean, you know, the kids, when they come up here with their memorials, and I tell them the whole point of this is, you know, a lot about your bill here, your memorial. Your job is to educate me as a legislator, because I've got a lot of stuff I got to look at. So if you can come up and sit down and say, here's what this memorial does, that helps me a lot. I don't have to try to figure it out. You're here to tell me about it and explain the reasons why we should do it. And so there's a real benefit to that. People can come and go. They can walk onto the gallery. They can walk up here to our offices. I hope that never changes. I don't think people can understand or appreciate that. They're always surprised sometimes when they come in, and then they find the office, they walk right in, they sit down, and they can talk to us.
Right.
And they're surprised by that. And that's the way it should be. You know, we should be accessible. But there's nothing wrong with coming up here and, you know, being very vocal. And a lot of times folks gather outside the building here and express their concerns. And that's just part of the process. Democracy isn't always neat and clean, but that's the way it works, and at the end of the day, the result, whatever comes out of this, is better for it.
Well, this session is called a short session. It's only 30 days long, and by law, we're only supposed to deal with the budget or revenue, and also, we will deal with a message from the governor. The governor can also give us a message. So it's a short session. We have a lot to do in 30 days, but mostly we have to get the budget right. And we have to put more money into education, because we have been cutting education for too many years. We have not had any new revenue, and this year we do. We have about $200 million. So almost half of that is going to go into the education budget, both in the public schools and in higher education.
And I know Wild Friends in particular, one of my other committees is conservation.
Yes.
And part of what makes New Mexico so special is our open lands, our wildlife, and we don't want to lose that. And Wild Friends really always has recognized that that also is the future of New Mexico. And if we lose those things, they're gone forever.
up the good work. Stay involved. You know, you're gonna be here one of these days. Some of you are gonna be standing where I am and protecting our natural resources and protecting your kids and stuff. So stay involved and contact me. If you can, come up and visit me. I'd love to have you come up here if your parents can bring you. If you come with your school, you can call me, you can email me. I melt for kids.
First of all, I want to say that I'll miss you. I miss every year we have the turquoise shirts that are around here. I've carried legislation, put in funding for Wild Friends in the past, and I look forward to doing the same this year. So I'm definitely going to miss them around the Roundhouse, but hopefully the work that they do continues, and that we will see them back up here next year. I'll do all I can to add some additional resources and funding in this year so we can assist with the program. But just keep on researching, keep on learning, keep on having fun, and keep on being a voice, because I always say one of the most powerful lobbyist groups that we have in the state of New Mexico are Wild Friends.
In relationship to the Wild Friends, I have just had a great time working with them over the years. You know, I'm on transportation and I'm on business and industry. And each year that they've come up here, they've presented to one of my committees. You know, so I've seen them in my committees over the past 16 years. And I think it's great that you guys have a program like that. You know, they're prepared to just present.
Do you have any message you'd like to send to the Wild Friends since they're not able to come
I'm
visit
going to
you?
miss the Wild Friends this year. It's always wonderful to see those turquoise shirts roaming down the hall. So if you happen to be up here for other reasons, you should stop by and say hello to me. Room 120 in the basement. But I'm very proud of what they're doing with the pollinator plants, and our garden is wonderful. And thank you so much for this year deciding to work on the nurseries with the signage for pollinator plants. That's very important to educate the public. So you're doing good public service with your work. I want you to keep it up, and I'll be here next year, and so will you.
So yes, I have. I've seen the pollinator garden. It's beautiful, very cool, and I've even seen our little bee friends there taking sips. It's very awesome.
My name is Anthony Shadabaka, and I'm the ground supervisor here at the state capitol.
So tell us about what's special about this garden.
This garden is special because it's a pollinator garden, and it also attracts. We noticed we had a lot of hummingbird action here throughout the summer. And there's a variety of color and contrast here as well. It's all native New Mexican plants also.
And I didn't get to see it in the summer. What was it like?
It was real colorful. There's some pinks and blues, some rich reds and yellows, a little bit of pink. It was beautiful.